Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Anime Octopussy. Today, we're diving into our fanfic series with What If Naruko Became Rias' New Devil? Part 2. Disclaimer, the content on this channel is for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits belong to the respective creators and copyright holders. Let's get started. Rias blinked in astonishment as she looked at Naruko, who just moments before had politely declined her invitation to join her peerage, and now had revealed a pair of shimmering silver wings that spread gracefully from her back. What?
I don't understand.
You said you were a yokai, Rias stammered, still holding a spark of curiosity in her eyes. Naruko gave a soft chuckle, her golden eyes sparkling with mischief. Well, I think you might have assumed a little too much. I never said I was fully a yokai. She twirled a strand of her silver hair around her finger. Sometimes, it's fun to let people figure things out for themselves. Rias, still cautious, backed up slightly, her hands glowing faintly with her magic. If you are a reincarnated devil, then tell me. Who is your master? And where is the rest of your peerage? Why are you here? How dare you cross into Gremory territory without asking permission? Naruko tilted her head, her wings fluttering gently as if brushing the air. Are you finished asking questions? Rias narrowed her eyes, preparing her own magic, while Akeno, standing beside her, gave Naruko a sharp, expectant look. Naruko raised her hands in a calming gesture. Take it easy. If I were here to cause trouble, I could have, but I'm honestly just here to talk. Rias crossed her arms, though her magic eased slightly. Then start talking. Answer my questions. Very well, Naruko said with a smile, sitting gracefully on the cushioned sofa. I was reincarnated into a devil some years ago. Rias' brow furrowed. Who reincarnated you? Whose peerage are you in? And why were you sent here? No one commands me, not even my king, Naruko replied, her voice calm and warm. I'm free to choose whether or not to help, and I do so only if I want to. Rias blinked. Stray devil? That doesn't make sense. All peerage members are supposed to obey their king. Naruko laughed softly, the sound light and musical. It's a little unusual, yes. But my king and I made an agreement when I was reincarnated. I'm not bound to follow orders, but I will help when I feel it's right. She leaned back, tucking her wings neatly behind her. It's simpler that way. Rias tilted her head, clearly puzzled. But why would your king do that? Naruko sipped her tea and gave Akeno a polite wink. I could tell you, but my story is a long one, and besides, you're more than capable of imagining some of it yourself. Rias drummed her fingers impatiently on the arm of her chair. Then start somewhere. Naruko smiled, leaning forward. Many years ago, when the evil peace system was new, a powerful devil approached me, asking me to join their peerage. I refused, every day for 3 years, no matter where I went. Eventually, I agreed. But only on my own terms. Rias and Akeno listened quietly, their expressions a mix of astonishment and curiosity. So, that's why you're free to choose, Rias finally said. Exactly, Naruko replied, her eyes twinkling. And as for why I'm here, I'm just enjoying a little holiday. I came to watch, to see how things unfold in this quiet town. And I have to admit, she added with a playful grin, having 2 intelligent and brave young women like you around makes it far more interesting. Rias and Akeno exchanged glances, unsure whether to be impressed or exasperated. Naruko, noticing their confusion, giggled lightly. Don't worry. I mean no harm. I just love seeing how stories unfold. Well, enough questions, Naruko said cheerfully, setting her cup aside. She stood, her wings catching the sunlight and casting silver patterns on the floor. Now, shall we meet the rest of my little peerage? I think you'll enjoy meeting them. Rias blinked, a small smile tugging at her lips despite her lingering curiosity. Very well. Let's see who you really are, Naruko. Naruko's smile widened, and with a playful twirl, she stepped forward, wings fluttering lightly, ready to turn an ordinary day into a wonderful adventure. Silence hung in the occult research clubroom, thick and almost magical, like a blanket of still air. Why is it so quiet? Naruko wondered aloud, peeking around the room at the curious faces gathered there. The students were all unusual in their own ways. Akeno was gently pouring tea, her calm smile never wavering. Rias and Kiba sat stiffly, eyes flicking toward Naruko, clearly unsure of what to make of her. And then there was Koneko. Well, she looked just as she always did, quiet, observant, and almost impossibly still. Koneko was a petite girl with hair as white as fresh snow and eyes the soft color of honey. She looked younger than she was, sitting daintily on the couch and nibbling at a plate of sweet treats. Long strands of hair framed her face, and little black cat-shaped clips perched playfully in her hair. Even with her small, serene presence, Naruko could sense something special about her, an almost magical energy that marked her as a nekashu, a creature with feline grace and curiosity. Determined to make a friend, Naruko stepped forward, all eyes on her as she approached the couch. Sitting down beside Koneko, she offered a bright smile. "Hello, little kitten. I'm Uzumaki Naruko." She extended her hand warmly, but Koneko flinched, hugging her plate of sweets protectively. "Don't worry," Naruko said gently, "I'm not here to take your treats. I just wanted to say hello. One magical friend to another." "Hello," Koneko replied softly, her voice quiet but clear. She didn't move to shake hands, but her posture relaxed ever so slightly. Naruko noticed, with a small grin, that trust, even a little, was starting to form. Naruko's smile widened when Kiba spoke up. "This is Tojo Koneko, a first-year academy student and a member of the Occult Research Club. Koneko-chan, this is Naruko, a reincarnated magical being like you." "Pleased to meet you, Naruko-senpai," Koneko said politely, her voice still calm and soft. Naruko nodded, understanding that sometimes it took a little while for someone as reserved as Koneko to warm up. "Nice to meet you too, little one," Naruko said, reaching out again. This time, Koneko cautiously extended her hand, letting Naruko take it in a quick, gentle handshake. Naruko felt a spark of something familiar, like meeting an old friend for the first time. A small chuckle echoed across the room as Rias stepped forward. "It's good to see you connecting with your peers, Naruko-san," she said, her eyes gleaming with quiet amusement. Naruko turned toward her, smiling with a playful sparkle in her eyes. "Thanks, Rias-san. I like meeting new friends. Even if it's a little tricky at first." Akeno's warm voice chimed in. "Naruko-kun, what do you plan to do while you're at Kuo Academy?" "Oh, probably explore the school, see the town, meet everyone. Maybe even learn some new magic tricks," Naruko replied cheerfully. "What about you? Any fun plans?" Akeno laughed softly. "Oh, I think we'll keep a close eye on you, just in case." "Ha! I'll try to stay interesting, don't worry," Naruko winked. With the ice broken, Rias took the opportunity to speak. "Now that everyone is here, I have a small request for you, Naruko." Naruko raised an eyebrow, curious. "A request?" "Yes," Rias said. "There's a mysterious visitor at the academy, a magical being not unlike yourself. But we want to be careful. She is here for a particular reason, and we need her to have the freedom to explore without interruption." Naruko tilted her head, intrigued. "So, you want me to be her friend from a distance?" "That's exactly it," Akeno said, placing a gentle hand on the table. "We don't want her to feel watched or worried. She's here for someone special, and we want her visit to be a happy one." Naruko nodded, her eyes sparkling with understanding. "I can do that. I love making new friends, and I'll make sure she feels welcome. Sounds like an adventure." From the couch, Koneko quietly added, "Pervert." Akeno giggled, covering her mouth. "You always make things more interesting, Koneko." Naruko laughed along with them, feeling the warmth of new friendship blooming in the quiet room. Whatever lay ahead, it promised to be a story filled with kindness, curiosity, and magic. And somewhere, a new friendship was just beginning to grow. Rias gave Naruko a firm nod at that. "At first, we feared that she was here to try to recruit him into the Fallen Angel faction like they have done with other sacred gear users before. However, it quickly became clear that wasn't the case when she made no move to approach Issei. So we have finally come to the conclusion that she's here to prevent us from recruiting him ourselves. We believe she is going to approach him soon and take him to an isolated location, probably outside our territory, and once there, well, we're not entirely sure what her plan is." "So what do you plan to do?" Despite Naruko's question, she already knew the answer but wanted to hear Rias say it. "Are you going to approach Issei now or interfere with the situation itself?" Rias winced, the spark of excitement leaving her face as she shut her eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. Opening them, she gave Naruko a hard look filled with resolve. "We're going to follow, and let her do what she intends." Naruko blinked in surprise. These high school students, even if they were devils, were prepared to let an innocent boy walk into danger without stepping in. How bold! For their credit, at least Kiba looked clearly uncomfortable with Rias's suggestion. Koneko, as was becoming her norm, wore no expression, studiously ignoring anyone in the room. Naruko couldn't fully sense her thoughts, her own powers suppressed as they were. Akeno, to Naruko's amusement, maintained that enigmatic smile she'd had the entire time, leaving Naruko utterly unsure what she was thinking. Only Rias looked steadfast, her determination unwavering. "Very well," Naruko said at last, "I will respect your request not to interfere. In fact, I'm curious to see how it all unfolds." Standing, she headed for the door. She'd introduced herself to the Gremory heiress, learned of the excitement to come, and now it was time to let events unfold. Till next time, Rias-chan, Akeno-chan, Koneko-chan, and Kiba-chan. Good luck with your mission. Without waiting for responses, Naruko left. Night had fallen, and she walked the quiet streets of Kuo, thinking about the day and how her future seemed to be shaping up. As she moved, a familiar presence brushed against her senses, powerful, sharp, unmistakable. Soon, footsteps echoed behind her. Slapping a smile on her face, she turned, eyes twinkling. There he was. "You're either very brave or very foolish," Naruko said, her voice teasing. "Not many know me well enough to sneak up like that. Which are you, Azazel?" He stood tall, well over 6 feet, dark shaggy hair falling into blonde bangs, and a mischievous grin lighting up his face. His crisp white shirt was topped by a long red overcoat, and pink eyes sparkled with amusement. "You're a hard one to find," he said with a laugh. "The last time I saw you must have been 100 years ago, maybe more." Naruko crossed her arms, unimpressed. "Maybe I didn't want to see you. And how exactly did you manage to track me down?" she asked. Peace had been so sweet these past few weeks, she had hoped for another month or two of quiet. Azazel laughed again, unfazed by her glare. "The Grigori, of course. My faction has eyes everywhere. One slip, and I can find you. A week ago, I learned you were in Kyoto. Tracking you here took effort, but here you are." Naruko narrowed her eyes. Azazel was brilliant and powerful, but unpredictable, unsettling in a way that reminded her too much of her own impulsive younger days. Still, a part of her missed those days, the memories long faded and yet somehow vivid when he was near. "The last time I saw you was 1912. On the Titanic," he said, patting her shoulder as if they were old friends. "Ah, good times." Naruko scowled. "I was having a great time with my king. Then you appeared and caused a scene. You're lucky I didn't." Now, Azazel interrupted with a grin. "She can be dramatic sometimes. A little joke about the Seraph and the Mao. That's all. I just wanted to talk to an old friend." Naruko didn't smile. She simply glared, and Azazel's grin faded into something more serious. "In the last few years, a rogue group has begun forming and growing rapidly," he said. "They could threaten not just the human world, but the underworld and heaven itself. This isn't a small scuffle. It's a serious problem." "What makes them so different?" Naruko asked, her voice calm but alert. "They are many species, all united: angels, fallen angels, devils, yokai, magicians, sacred gear users. And they are organized. Not a rabble." Naruko chuckled lightly. "Ah. The Chaos Brigade. I know of them, they asked me to join." Azazel blinked, surprised. "I said no," Naruko added firmly. "Their goal is meaningless, and I am loyal to my king. That will never change." Azazel nodded slowly, understanding. Perhaps it was wise to keep tabs, but Naruko's word was clear. "As fascinating as this reunion has been," she said, turning, "I have somewhere to be. Hopefully we meet again. But maybe in less than 100 years. "Oh, I'm sure we will meet sooner," Azazel said with a sly smile. "Big things are stirring here in Kuo. You're not the only one noticing." And with that, Naruko walked on, her mind alive with anticipation, ready for whatever adventures lay ahead. It was nighttime in the quiet town of Kuo. The streets were calm, with most people enjoying their homes after a long day. Only a few wanderers were out under the moonlight. Among them was a spirited young girl named Naruko. She had bright silver hair that shimmered under the moon and golden eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Tonight, she was perched high on a tree branch in the park, watching and waiting for something exciting to happen. Naruko loved mysteries. She had a keen sense for adventure and could sense when something unusual was about to unfold. The park was quiet, except for the gentle rustling of the leaves and the occasional splash from the fountain in the center. Tonight, Naruko felt certain something magical was about to occur. Soon, she heard cheerful voices coming from the path below. A young boy named Issei was walking with a girl who called herself Yuuma. Yuuma had long, shiny black hair and bright, kind eyes that seemed full of warmth. She smiled as she talked, and Issei couldn't help but listen, captivated by her gentle laughter. Naruko hid among the branches, her eyes wide with wonder. They look like they're on a special adventure, she whispered to herself. I wonder what they're up to. A little earlier that day, Issei had been feeling unlucky. His morning hadn't gone as planned, and he had stumbled through a string of minor mishaps. But then, he met Yuuma. She had a smile that could light up even the dullest day, and she had asked him to join her for a special outing. Suddenly, the world seemed brighter, and everything felt possible. They had spent the day exploring the town, visiting the market, and sharing sweet treats at a cozy cafe. Yuuma laughed at Issei's jokes and shared stories about her day, and Issei felt like he was floating on air. By the evening, she had led him to the park, a quiet and peaceful place where the moonlight reflected off the fountain's water. Yuuma turned to Issei and smiled softly, her cheeks rosy in the glow of the lanterns. I have a little wish, she said, something I hope you can help me with. Issei's heart raced. He had no idea what it could be, but anything Yuuma asked seemed like a wonderful adventure waiting to happen. Of course, he said eagerly. What do you want me to do? Yuuma grinned. I want to have a magical treasure hunt. There's a special flower hidden somewhere in this park, and I'd love it if you could help me find it. Issei's eyes lit up. A treasure hunt? That sounds amazing. And so, the two of them set off under the moonlight, searching for the sparkling flower. Naruko, still perched in the tree, watched as the pair giggled and explored, jumping over little streams and peeking behind trees. The night was filled with laughter and delight, and even the park seemed to sparkle with magic. Suddenly, Naruko spotted a soft, glowing light among the roots of an old oak tree. Carefully, she climbed down to investigate and discovered a tiny, enchanted creature. It was round and cheerful, with wings that shimmered like the colors of the sunset. The creature looked at her and twinkled. Hello, Naruko said gently. Are you lost? The creature chirped happily and floated toward her, leaving a trail of tiny sparkles in the air. Naruko giggled and decided to guide it toward Issei and Yuuma. The creature darted around them, and soon all three of them were chasing its sparkling trail through the park, laughing all the while. By the fountain, the glowing creature finally landed on a hidden patch of flowers, revealing the magical treasure Yuuma had hoped to find. Her eyes widened with joy. We did it! We found it, she exclaimed, clapping her hands. Issei cheered, and Naruko's heart swelled with happiness, knowing she had helped create this special moment. The three new friends spent the rest of the night playing, exploring, and sharing stories under the moonlight. It was a night full of magic, laughter, and kindness, a night that none of them would ever forget. And from that day on, Naruko knew that adventures and new friends could always be found in the most unexpected places. It was a quiet evening in the village, the sky painted in soft shades of lavender and gold. Naruko, a spirited young ninja with bright blue eyes and golden hair tied into two playful pigtails, stood atop a gentle hill, gazing at the twinkling lights below. Today was special, she had been entrusted with a mission unlike any other, to help a friend discover their own courage. Naruko felt a flutter of excitement. I hope I can really help, she whispered to herself, hugging her little satchel closer. Inside it were tiny charms, special herbs, and a notebook full of plans she had drawn to encourage others. Her mission wasn't about fighting or danger, it was about friendship, courage, and believing in oneself. Below, in the village square, a young boy named Issei sat quietly on a bench, looking worried and unsure. He had always been shy and hesitant, often doubting his own abilities, and today he needed someone to remind him of how capable he really was. Naruko bounded down the hill, her footsteps light and full of energy. Hey, Issei! She called cheerfully, waving a hand. Don't worry. I've got a little plan to help you feel braver. Issei blinked, startled at the sudden appearance of the lively girl. Naruko? What are you doing here? I'm here to help you see how strong you already are, Naruko said with a confident smile. You don't need magic or superpowers for this, you just need to believe in yourself. She reached into her satchel and pulled out a small, glowing charm. This is a courage charm. It won't do anything magical like in stories, but it will remind you to be brave. Issei hesitated, then took the charm, feeling its warmth in his hands. Really? You think it will help? I know it will, Naruko replied, her eyes sparkling. But the real magic comes from inside you. You've got a kind heart, a clever mind, and the spirit to try, even when things seem scary. I'll show you how. She led him through a series of playful exercises, balancing on tree stumps, leaping over streams, and even speaking in front of a small audience of village children who had gathered curiously. With each step, Issei felt a little braver, a little stronger, until his nervousness melted into laughter. By the end of the day, the sun was setting, casting a golden glow across the village. Issei held the charm close, smiling shyly.
I think I understand now.
I can do more than I thought. Naruko grinned, ruffling his hair gently. Exactly. And remember, bravery isn't about never feeling scared. It's about trying, even when you are. You've done wonderfully today, Issei, and I'm proud of you. As the stars began to twinkle above, Naruko and Issei walked back to the village together, their hearts light and their spirits high. The world felt full of possibilities, and for the first time, Issei truly believed he could face them. And Naruko? She skipped ahead, her laughter ringing through the evening air, knowing that sometimes the greatest adventures come not from battles or powers, but from helping friends find the courage they never knew they had. Humans have had their chance, they are often careless with the gifts of the world, the woman Calawarner said, speaking to humans as one might to children who had spilled their paint. I think Rainier is right, it is at least worth a try, and just think, Donaseek, all we would be doing is teaching them how to respect what is sacred. Before Donaseek could reply, another voice interrupted the conversation. Well, that's quite an idea. I thought of something similar myself, but the gifts would be wasted on me. You, however, could do amazing things if you treated them with care. Turning toward the voice, the four angels saw a tall girl with spiky silver hair, wearing a smart black suit with a burnt orange shirt and black silk tie. But what stood out most were her glowing golden eyes and her wide, cheerful smile. Hello. I'm Naruko Uzumaki, she said with a playful bow. As for how I got here, I followed a rather interesting angel from Kuo's park. Don't worry, I mean no harm. Who are you, and how did you get in here? Calawarner demanded, her wings bristling with tension. Naruko simply chuckled. Relax, I'm not here to fight, Naruko replied, twirling a strand of her silver hair. But I do have some questions. You four look like you're hiding something important. The four angels exchanged uneasy glances. Rainier, the sharpest of them, stepped forward, her expression wary. And why should we answer you? Naruko crouched down so she was eye level with them. Because I want to help. I can see that you're worried about following orders that aren't very nice, and maybe, just maybe, I can make things easier. Middled, the youngest, spoke first, her voice trembling. We were only following instructions. Kakabiel. He's forcing us to help him. Naruko's golden eyes softened. Ah. I see. So you're not bad, you're just stuck. Don't worry. We can figure this out together. Calawarner's wings flared. And why should we trust you? You're a stranger. Because I'm offering you a choice, Naruko said warmly. You don't have to follow anyone blindly anymore. If you stay with me, I'll help you make your own decisions. You'll still be free, but I'll make sure no one can hurt you while you figure things out. The four angels stared at her in surprise. Rainier tilted her head. And what exactly would we do if we joined you? Naruko grinned. We'll be a team. You'll keep doing the things you were doing, but now you'll have someone guiding you, protecting you, and listening to you. I'll help you plan carefully, so no one gets hurt and everyone can be safe. Middle's eyes widened. That sounds wonderful. But what about Kakabiel? Naruko tapped her chin thoughtfully. I have ways to make sure he can't hurt you. Little charms, little seals, magic that keeps you safe. You'll still have freedom, but you'll also have protection. Nothing scary, I promise. Think of it as a magical safety net. Calawarner and Donaseek exchanged hesitant looks. And how do we know we can trust you? Donaseek asked. Naruko smiled brightly. Because I don't ask for blind loyalty. I just ask that you try your best and stay honest. That's all I need. And if you ever feel scared, I'll be there. I promise. For a moment, the room was silent. Then, one by one, the angels relaxed. Middle let out a small laugh of relief, and Calawarner's wings folded slowly back. Even Rainier gave a small nod. All right, Naruko, Rainier said finally, we'll trust you. For now. Naruko clapped her hands together in delight. Fantastic. Now, let's figure out how to make your mission safer, more fun, and a little less stressful. We're going to do great things together. The four angels felt a spark of hope they hadn't felt in a long time. And as Naruko led them out of the church and into the bright sunlight outside, they knew that, for the first time, they weren't alone. They were a team, and together, they could face anything, carefully, wisely, and with a touch of magic. Dear YouTube family, this is all for now. I hope you enjoyed the content and found it both entertaining and meaningful. Your support means the world to me, and it is what keeps this channel growing and thriving. Every like, share, and subscription not only helps me continue creating but also connects us as a community who shares the same passion. Thank you for taking the time to watch, engage, and be a part of this journey. I look forward to bringing you more exciting content, insights, and fun in the future. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep supporting the things you love. With heartfelt gratitude. Anime Octopus.